Hi YouTube, I decided to make an Ewok village with the kids as a summer holiday project. We started to plan it with this pencil drawing. I then went over it with a pen so it would show up better in this video. First I made a very simple shallow base. These were the basic materials we started with, just some PVA glue, string, some kitchen paper, then there's some aluminium wire so it's easy to bend, some brushes. These are just substrates we collected, like sand and gravel, bits of bark, that kind of thing. They're good for kind of base textures. Then we've got cocktail sticks, some scissors, wire cutters, and some pliers, and just a couple of drills. There'll be other materials as well as we go along, but this is what we started with. So we wanted to make the 3 tall trees first. So we just started with some aluminium wire, twisted it around itself just to make these kind of internal structures for them. Then we coated the wire with some aluminium foil. The kids found this really easy to do because you basically just squash the foil onto it and you're just trying to make it taper towards the top and just get wider towards the bottom to form a trunk. You can see here, these will stand up just about by themselves. Then we coated these with papier-mâché, so just use super PVA glue and bits of kitchen paper that we torn into small sections like this. We just add some glue to the trunk first, then wrap the paper around, add more glue over the top, and you just keep building up the layers on top of each other, and this makes it really strong and yet still quite flexible. Then we went out and we collected a whole load of fine dead twigs. Then we drilled some holes up into the trunk, and then you just dip each branch into a bit of PVA glue and then push it up into the hole. You can see here we just added more papier-mâché at the bottom just to attach the trees to the base. We obviously didn't want our ground to be completely flat, so we added some glue to the base and then just scrunched up some aluminium foil and just added this layer in. This was really quick to do and really effective. Then we covered all the aluminium foil with papier-mâché again, just using the super PVA and the torn up bits of kitchen paper, same as before. If your glue has dried, you can just add more glue, and then what you do is just sprinkle various kind of sands and gravels, anything you want really onto it, and this is just to make the surface of the ground. You can see here there are still patches that are showing through white, and so it needs more added to it. If you remember the little tubs that I showed you earlier, these are just full of substrates and things that we collected on one trip out. So you've got like little rocks, sand of different colours, there's little tiny bits of bark, and you've got tiny bits of gravel, that kind of thing. And it's just worth collecting up as many different textures as you can, and then you can add them to the base. We've also got rocks here. These ones have got algae on. Got some here without kind of algae, but you can always paint moss and algae and that kind of thing onto your rocks later. You can see I just sorted them into different sizes at this stage. Next we painted the trunks of the trees just in this flat dark brown colour. This is just a base colour, and then we can dry brush lighter kind of textures and things onto the top of this later. Then we decided where we wanted some of our bigger rocks to go, and we glued them into position. And we've also drilled holes along the back edge, and we've just put fence posts in. These are just basically twigs just cut with wire cutters, just snipped to the right length, and then just literally glued into the holes that have been drilled. Next we wanted to start making the Ewok huts, so I gave the kids some circles of plywood, and we took it in turns to drill holes all the way around the edge, and then we just got some cocktail sticks, and you just dab a little bit of glue on each cocktail stick and just put them in as uprights all the way around. Then you just take some string and you just simply weave it in and out all the way around until you get to one side, and then you come back again. And you can see it builds up. It does take a bit of time, but it's very effective, and the kids love doing this, and you get a really good result. I then used a hole saw to cut a hole in the middle of each of the huts that is going to be positioned onto a tree. This just means once there's a hole in the middle, you can also cut a wedge out that leads to the door, and then you can kind of slot that over the tree. So this is how it was looking with the huts positioned onto the trees. The wedge that I cut out to allow me to kind of slot it onto the tree, I then stuck back on. And then what I've done is I've glued underneath and just wrap some string around, and that just keeps the huts in position. Then we made some really basic cone shaped roofs for the huts. These are just done with black sugar paper, just simply formed into a cone and stuck with a bit of sellotape for now. Obviously we're going to stick textures over the top of these to make them look more realistic. This just gives us some surfaces basically to be able to stick onto. So yeah, really basic technique, and it looks a bit kind of rubbish at this stage, but it will look better in a bit. I also made these little platforms, and they're just a kind of an extra kind of thing for the Ewoks to kind of stand on. So yeah, I mean you probably have all made cones before, but if you haven't, you just cut a circle, cut a line to the centre of the circle, and I'm trying to do this one-handed with a camera in the other hand. It's easier with two hands, but yeah, basically you're just pushing it until you get a cone, and obviously the more you push it, the steeper a cone you get, and then yeah, just a bit of tape, and then you're ready to go. Then we started making our Ewoks. These are just caricatures of the original Kenner Star Wars figures, and we started with little bits of aluminium foil just to get a rough shape. You can see how basic these are, and then we just coated them with milliput. Milliput is a 2-part putty that sets rock hard at room temperature. It takes about 4 hours to set. So yeah, once you've got the basic overall shape, you can start adding more details to them. You can see here with the staffs, I've left them, and then I'll add spear tips and things to the end of them later. These are 2 that my kids have done. They're going to be Paplu and Romba. And here you can make the staff separately and then stick them on. Okay, I'll talk you through some of the stages that we've done since you saw it last. So we've got little tiny rope swings, we've got rope ladders, you've got sticks going up the trunk in a kind of a spiral, and then we've obviously added straw to the roofs. That's just glued on with PVA glue. There are extra fences, you've got kind of rope bridges. All of those are just done with like 2 long pieces of string, and then it's just cocktail sticks cut to the right kind of length and then just glued on with little blobs. On the platforms I've added little tiny extra fences. We've got kind of little extra ladders going up, and it's kind of similar things all over the place really. There are supports for the huts as well underneath, and all the way around the fence on the back edge we've added beams along the top. Do you remember they were just uprights before? We've also added little piles of logs and a nice little log fire with a roasting spit over the top. And then we found the perfect bit of eucalyptus bark that had kind of curled around, and we turned that into a slide for them. And we finished making our little Ewoks. There's 8 of them in total. Like I say, these are all based on the original Kenner Star Wars figures, so we'll paint these to kind of match the originals, but at the moment you can see this is just them, just made in the milliput. And like I say, they're just very basic caricatures of the original ones, but I think they look enough like them, and they'll look even more like them once they're painted. So here's a quick comparison of them next to my original Star Wars figures. So this is what they look like before painting, and this is what they look like after painting. What was really weird about this is, although we did them so basically, they're so kind of simplified, when we painted them, because we tried to match the colours, reasonably well, it was kind of uncanny looking at them and just seeing these kind of figures that kind of reminded me so much of the figures that I had when I was a kid. It just looked like them staring back at me, so I was really pleased with how they turned out. One of the main reasons that I wanted to do this project in the first place is because when I was a kid, I used to carry little Wicket around with me all over the place. I mean, obviously Yoda was my favourite character, and I used to carry him around the most, but if it wasn't Yoda, it was Wicket. And I'd be forever kind of trying to make little Ewok villages and things for him back in the day, and I wanted my kids to kind of experience the same thing that I did. Okay, for anybody who's watching this who's maybe a similar age to me and they used to own these Ewoks as a kid and they're trying to remember their names, I'll do a quick run through. So there's Logray, then you got T-Bow, Chief Chirpa, Paplu, Lumat, Warrock, Romba, and of course everybody's favourite, Wicket. Okay, so this is how it turned out in the end. You can see we've glued all of the Ewoks into various positions. We've added a lot of moss around the place to make it look more natural. We've stained things like some of the ropes with green. That's just using really watered down green acrylic paint and just allowing it to soak into the ropes. We've done a similar thing with watered down green paint on the sort of thatched roofs, and that gives it a weathered look as well. We've also added green with dry brush technique onto the bark of the trees and also onto some of the rocks and things as well, and that just makes the whole thing look a lot kind of greener and a lot more like the Forests of Endor from Return of the Jedi. And I think I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and the kids love it, and I think they had a lot of fun doing it. Probably almost as much fun as I did. I mean, obviously, I did it for them, but I also did it for me as well, because it sort of took me back to my childhood, and I was trying to kind of relive the experiences that I had as a kid with my kids, and I think they love it. Obviously, they haven't got the same Kenner Star Wars figures that I have, but I think that doesn't matter. I think they got involved and they loved making the little Ewok. So if you're thinking of doing a summer holiday project with your kids, what could be nicer than going out and collecting a whole load of materials in some local woodlands and things, and then making your own little Ewok village. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's inspired you to go out and make an Ewok village of your own with your kids. Hit subscribe to see more of my videos, and I'll catch you in the next one.